When working with plastics, there's a fairly good chance that sooner or later you will run across the need to use some type of filler. Fillers can be a bit confusing, especially to those completely new to the concept. So in this video I will point out the most common types of filler, and what you can expect when using them. First is Bondo body filler. The first thing that you should know about Bondo is that it requires a special hardening cream, or else the end result will be too soft. The hardening cream should come packaged with the filler, but is also sold separately should you run out. Another thing worth noting is that Bondo is a brand name. Other companies make body fillers that should work just as well. Bondo, as well as the off-brands, can be found in the automotive section of department stores. Perhaps the most confusing part of first-time users of Bondo is how much hardener to use. I have found that for approximately 2 tablespoons of filler, a pea-sized amount of hardener creates a good mixture. Blend the mixture together until it forms a uniform color. Keep in mind that the more hardener you use, the quicker the mixture will dry up and become unworkable. Once it is uniformly mixed, the Bondo can be applied to your project. Fully cured Bondo is almost chalk-like. It is rather hard but relatively brittle. For that reason, I do not recommend using Bondo for holding pieces together or on locations of high stress. Instead, it works great for filling dips and low spots in plastic. Epoxy putty, on the other hand, is a good material for holding parts together. Once cured, it becomes very hard and rock-like. Epoxy putty generally comes in a small tube roughly the size of a roll of quarters. Working with epoxy putty is easy but a bit messy. You can start by cutting off however much you want to work with. You'll notice that the putty consists of a light and dark clay. One of these contains the chemical activator which allows the putty to harden into its rock-like finish. As this putty is a skin irritant, you should wear gloves when mixing. To mix, knead the putty until the 2 parts are evenly blended. It can then be applied and shaped to your needs. Because the putty is thick like clay in its working form, it can be used to create standalone items like buttons or standoffs. ABS cement is a growing favorite simply because it's easy to acquire, is made from recycled plastic, and creates a very solid bond because it literally fuses plastic to plastic. To create ABS cement, take an old, unused piece of ABS, such as this old fan grill, and place it in a large glass jar. Manufactured ABS parts should be labeled with the letters ABS. Although other plastic types may work for this process, I recommend sticking with plastics where you can clearly see the ABS label. Next, add pure acetone to the jar. Seal the jar with its lid, and wait. The acetone will take several hours to break down the plastic, typically overnight or possibly up to a day. You can help it by stirring or tilting the jar every couple of hours. Getting the right consistency to the cement is more an art than a science. If it's too runny, add more plastic and let that melt down. If it's too stiff, add some more acetone. A quick warning on acetone. Acetone is sold as a powerful paint thinner. You should never get it on your skin or your clothes, and you should avoid breathing its fumes. Acetone can usually be found wherever paint is sold. ABS cement should be applied in thin layers. As you can see here, the plastic is prone to warping as the acetone evaporates and the plastic hardens. As long as you take your time and apply it in thin layers, you can avoid this problem. Lastly, we come to 2-part epoxy. This should be considered more of a glue, but can be used as a filler if the need arises. It's very easy to work with because there is no need to measure out precise amounts, and there's little chance of it coming into contact with your skin. To use it, squeeze equal parts of both fluids out of the storage tube. Mix it together until blended, then apply to your project. The greatest downside to 2-part epoxy is that it's liquid, so you have to be careful when applying it so it doesn't run. Once cured, epoxy produces a very stiff yet smooth glass-like finish. This finish is a bit harder to sand than other fillers, so I largely recommend using epoxy only for gluing parts together, then surfacing them with a different type of filler. You should always rough up your work surface by sanding it prior to using any type of filler, but that is especially true for 2-part epoxy. Without a rough surface to grip to, its glossy finish can easily pop off of a smooth surface. I hope my little demonstration helped clear up some of the confusion surrounding different body fillers, and that you feel more confident next time you need to use one in your projects. Thank you for watching.